Welcome to the Deep Dive. And today we are going deep on something you might think is pretty simple. A scarf. But not just any scarf with the kufiya.
That's right. And it's amazing how such a seemingly ordinary piece of clothing can hold so much, cultural and historical weight.
It really is. For anyone who may not be familiar, the kufiya is that, distinctive checkered head covering, usually seen in black and white.
Yeah.
But it comes in other colors too. And today we're going deeper than just fabric. We're going to dive into the story of the last factory making traditional kufiyas in Palestine, Hirbawi Textiles.
Yeah, a fascinating story. My own background in textile history gives me, I think, a pretty unique perspective on how these threads, intertwine.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Starting at the beginning, when did the kufiya first appear? And what's the deal with the checkered pattern? Was it always about fashion?
So you gotta picture the Arabian desert like centuries ago. We're talking scorching sun, sandstorms. The kufiya, or kefiye as it's sometimes called, was essential for anyone out there. It was about practicality.
Ah, so original performance wear.
Exactly. The fabric, often cotton or linen, provided shade, and people could pull it up over their faces during sandstorms. And that checkered pattern, there are theories that it helped with ventilation, created these, little pockets of air. It's interesting, you actually see similar head coverings in other desert cultures, developed for the same reasons, shows you how necessity can really drive design.
Right. It makes you realize a kufi isn't just fabric. It's like a walking history lesson. It's proof that everyday objects become powerful symbols. And that takes us to the 20th century, right?
Yeah.
Because the kufiya, it takes on a whole new meaning then.
Absolutely. You can't separate its transformation from the politics at the time, right?
Yeah.
Rising nationalism, the fight for independence, colonialism. In this climate, the kufiya, particularly the black and white pattern, it becomes almost synonymous with Palestinian identity, like a visual shorthand for the struggle.
And then, of course, there's Yasser Arafat.
Exactly. Arafat, this, central figure in the Palestinian resistance movement, adopts the kufiya as his signature look. And it's not just that he wore it, it's how he draped it. He formed the shape of historic Palestine over his shoulder. Such powerful imagery and broadcast, on a global stage. That's when the kufiya goes from like a practical garment to this deeply resonant symbol.
So we're talking about a simple scarf that's become a symbol of identity resistance. And now this powerful visual statement. This brings us to Hirbawi Textiles. They were founded right in the middle of all this, 1961. Yeah. What was that like, launching a business like that at that time?
Well, we can't know the Hirbawi family's exact intentions, but the timing is, it's significant. It's just a few years after Arafat makes the kufiya his trademark, Palestinian identity is gaining prominence, and here's this family business.
Creating a product directly tied to that very identity. And they're still operating today. Still a family business.
Yeah.
Still based in the West Bank. That's incredible.
It really is. They operate out of Hebron, and that location, that plays a key role in their story.
And speaking of challenges, what's it like running a business in Hebron? Especially one that's, so deeply rooted in Palestinian heritage.
It's complex, to say the least. Operating any business in the West Bank comes with its own set of, economic and political hurdles.
So we have this family business in a complicated location, making a product suddenly in high demand as a symbol of, identity and resistance. But there's another layer to this story, isn't there? They're committed to doing things the traditional way.
Absolutely. Hirbawi is all about preserving tradition. While cheaper, mass-produced kufiyas were, flooding the market, they stuck with hand weaving on those beautiful, intricate looms, and you can feel the difference, the quality, the craftsmanship. It's tangible.
Right. It's like the difference between like a mass-produced print and a hand-painted masterpiece.
Oh.
You can just sense the care, the skill woven into every inch. Speaking of which, we got to talk about the different patterns. The black and white is, iconic. But I've heard the red and white one has its own story.
Oh, absolutely. The black and white kufiya is so associated with Palestine today. It wasn't always as dominant. The red and white one, or sometimes red and black, was prevalent in Jordan and other areas. There are theories about like the origins of these patterns. Some believe they represent like fishing nets, others olive branches. Some even link them to Bedouin clans. It's hard to pinpoint a definitive answer, which makes it all the more intriguing.
I love a good mystery. But this is where it gets really interesting to me. The economics of it all. We're talking late 20th century, globalization kicks into high gear, and suddenly there are cheaper kufiyas everywhere.
Yeah.
What did that influx do to a place like Hirbawi, so dedicated to their craft, their tradition?
It was a very, very difficult period. Imagine, you're pouring your heart and soul into each kufiya, each one hand-woven, and then you're met with this tidal wave of mass-produced, often lower-quality versions, significantly undercutting your prices. This impact, it wasn't limited to Hirbawi. It affected, it rippled across industries and impacted countless Palestinian businesses.
A classic David versus Goliath situation. I'm on the edge of my seat here. How did they manage? Did they ever come close to shutting down completely?
It was a real struggle. A lot of people thought they wouldn't make it, but there's this resilience to Hirbawi, this like refusal to compromise on what they believe in. They knew that each kufiya, it wasn't just, a piece of cloth. It was a testament to their heritage.
So how'd they weather that storm? What were the turning points?
It's really a story about storytelling and conscious consumerism. People heard about Hirbawi, their dedication to tradition, their struggle, and it resonated. Campaigns popped up to support them. Online sales became this lifeline, and there was this like global community that realized buying a Hirbawi kufiya, it wasn't just a transaction. It was supporting a family, a heritage. It was a way of life.
It became bigger than just like, I need a cool scarf.
Right, exactly. And that's where it gets, really interesting, this interplay between, cultural heritage and the global market. Because the kufiya, it's this deeply rooted symbol for Palestinians, but it also finds its way into mainstream fashion, right? You see celebrities wearing it. Designers are using the pattern.
That's a bit of a tightrope walk, though, isn't it? I mean, there's a fine line between appreciation and appropriation. What happens when something's so symbolic it just becomes a trend?
It's a valid concern. When you strip a symbol of its context, yeah, its meaning can get, watered down. But here's the thing. At the same time you see the kufiya, on catwalks and in magazines, there's also this movement of reclamation, especially among younger Palestinians.
Right. Yeah, I've seen that too. It's like a way to connect with their heritage, make a statement about who they are, in this globalized world.
Exactly. It becomes this powerful symbol of, well, not just resistance, but resilience too. You see it at protests, of course, but also just, in everyday life. It's about visibility, about saying, this is who I am and I'm proud.
It gives me chills just thinking about it, how something as simple as a scarf can carry so much weight, so much meaning. So where does this leave Hirbawi? Are they going to be okay long term?
I'm cautiously optimistic. They've shown they can adapt. They've embraced, online platforms. They're partnering with fair trade organizations. They've tapped into this global market that values authenticity, and ethical production.
And they're still doing it all, like sticking to their hand-weaving tradition.
Exactly. That's the thing. They found this balance between, honoring their heritage and existing in this complex global market.
That's amazing. It sounds like they're doing everything right, but is it enough? What does the future hold for businesses like this?
Well, the truth is it depends. It's this whole web of factors, the economy, politics, what consumers want. All of it plays a role.
So it's not just about Hirbawi adapting to the world. It's about the world, like
Correct.
recognizing the value of what they do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where awareness comes in. We have power. Every purchase we make, it's like a vote, a statement about, the values that we want to support.
So what can people do? If someone's listening to this and thinking, I want to make sure places like Hirbawi can keep going, where do they even start?
It starts with learning, learn about the stories behind the products you buy. Look for businesses that actually, care about ethical production, fair labor practices, sustainability.
It's about looking like beyond the label,
Yeah.
right? Beyond just the price tag, and really getting what the impact of our choices is.
Absolutely. And when you find those companies like Hirbawi, companies that are actually, putting their money where their mouth is, support them. Tell your friends, share their stories, and make those conscious decisions that actually, line up with what you believe in.
It's like they say, right? Vote with your dollar.
Right.
But this time it's more like vote with your scarf choice.
Yeah, exactly. It's about, putting your money where your mouth is. And when it's a company like Hirbawi, that's not just, talking the talk. That's powerful.
It really is. Makes you realize there's like this whole other dimension to the things we wear, the things we own. It's not just stuff. It's stories,
Absolutely. And those stories, they connect us to like to different cultures,
Yeah.
different traditions, different parts of the world.
We started with something as simple as a scarf, and look where we ended up.
We've uncovered history and cultural significance and, economic resilience, the power of consumers making, informed choices. It really shows that even in this like globalized world we're in, individuals can still make a difference.
I love that. So anyone listening, if you're feeling inspired, what's the best way to support Hirbawi, like specifically?
Well, they've got a website. You can, learn about their whole history, their process. They even have like videos of the artisans making the kufiyas. It's pretty amazing. And of course, if you want an authentic kufiya, one that's made with real care, real tradition, buy directly from them.
It's like you're owning a piece of history then, a symbol of resilience, and knowing that what you spent, it's going right back to this family business, a business that's fighting to hold on to their heritage.
That's a pretty great feeling.
It is. Well, on that note, a huge thank you to you for taking this deep dive with us. I don't know about you, but I am feeling inspired to learn more, do more, and just be more, aware of the stories behind like everything, the things I choose to have in my life.
It was a pleasure to be here. It's always great to, to really dig into these stories about resilience and how people are keeping their culture alive.
And to everyone listening, if today's episode sparked your curiosity, we want you to keep exploring, look up Hirbawi textiles, learn about their craft, maybe even, treat yourself to a beautiful piece of history. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep seeking out those hidden stories, and keep diving deep.